right. Okay, just something a little bit different here, just because of the fact that we have been talking a little bit about the fact that we're so far in our campaign. By the way, I guess I didn't say welcome. Hi everyone who is either viewing live or watching. Thank you for watching. Huh? That's why I said viewing live or just watching. Basically, we realized that we're a little bit far in our campaign, that especially because it's a homebrew world, that maybe we might do some like catch-ups of just basically letting you all know what's happened to the characters, and give the lore of what's going on in our world, because it's a very in-depth lore.
Massive, and it's massive. We've done a lot.
You guys have
We've done a lot.
As you may have noticed, our enthusiastic bearded man Fahad is not here. It is a really hot day. It is June. We're still teaching. It's Monday. We are essentially tired, and poor guy even more so. So we gave him the night off.
There's a lot going on right now. And weird stuff.
Yeah, exams, New Year, heat. The heat got really bad here. Yeah, packing for you.
Packing.
So basically with this, we're going to go ahead and start by talking about the beginning of where this campaign all happened. And you'll hear a couple of names of a couple of our friends who were a part of the campaign for a little while, but had to kind of step back a bit. Life gets busy. Shit happens, and sometimes that shit isn't exactly the most fun. So they are at a basis where if they want to come in, you know, they'll let me know, and they can come in whenever they're available. But we'll get started with where it all began. So the first session that we ever had, our two characters, Mercy, well, at the time she was Mary.
Yes.
And Cheery went ahead and basically met in a town called Concord Post. And originally that wasn't the intent.
I don't know this part.
Yeah, she doesn't know this part. She came a couple sessions later, but when we first started, Fahad couldn't make it because he had something come up with his girlfriend, and so he had to go help out with that. And so my plans were just kind of out the window until people could actually meet up. So what I did was like a last minute thing where they were at a coastal town, and they basically went up against some Sahugans and fought. Cheery hid as normal. He started out by hiding in some stands, in some like market stands, and they ended up going ahead and helping them out. Turns out the townspeople said that they tend to have Sahugans come in and attack their town. It just seemed a bit more prevalent than normal.
Well, of course, when Kay's the TM.
Hey now. I mean,
what was the name of that town, just so I have?
Concord Post.
Concord?
Cord, like the cord on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was supposed to. Okay, it was a coastal town.
And it is near Pinella Pass. It took him a few days to get to Pinella Pass. So then when we finally had Fahad and our other two players go ahead and come to Pinella Pass, it started out with just Mary and Cheery entering into Pinella Pass looking for an individual named Armand. And when they entered into this tavern...
Right, well now if you watch the last two sessions now, they've met Armand.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
They definitely have. So they ended up going in. The thing about Pinella Pass is one thing that the people who come to the town notice is this massive structure in the middle, this arena that's in the middle, and that's pretty important to the story of Pinella Pass. Basically, Pinella Pass, just a backstory, Pinella Pass actually used to be a very criminal town full of like a bunch of criminals, lawlessness, until there was like a centaur that came in, challenged them all to like some kind of a fight.
I think I knew that.
Did you know that? Okay. I wasn't sure, but yeah, he ended up becoming the first mayor and helping establish this essentially an arena that would develop even more so throughout the years, and it's kind of the thing of Pinella Pass that they have. It's like a tourist spot for them.
Right.
And so then they enter into the tavern, and Mary wants to go ahead and immediately talk to Armand. Down to business. She wants to go ahead and find out what's going on. She was told to go see Armand about some business. Cheery wants to go ahead and just start business because he was very much a merchant's assistant, and he loved that life of luxury until things happened, and he didn't have that life of luxury anymore. They essentially took those shots of that liquor that Armand gave you guys, and it is a very strong liquor. Like, Armand is one of the few that can only handle it because he's developed a tolerance for it.
Okay.
But otherwise, Cheery and Mary out. And then when they woke up, they were in dungeons, and that's where Catechus was at. He entered in pretty much trying to like find someone named Anubis, and to kind of help out with his forest home. Was asking questions in a tavern, essentially was given the shot for free just as like hey, here's a shot, and then just kind of took it, passed out.
And I guess it's important to note too that, right, when Catechus was trying to find Anubis, he had never met Anubis until
he had never met Anubis. He'd never been told what
he just
Anubis
knew he
looked
had
like.
to find Anubis.
Yeah, he just knew the name Anubis from the Wizard Council. I need to find him. I need to find him.
Yeah.
And then when he passes out, the last thing he saw was Nala as a kitten running away.
Okay.
When they wake up and they see Catechus, they ask him, hey, how's it going? This is the moment that pissed off Mary and caused her to shift to become Mercy.
Oh.
Because she was like, hi, I'm Mary, what's your name? And Catechus was like, just call me man. And she was like, man? Why do I call you man? Like, seriously? She did not like it. And what escalated it even more was later on, because they had to fight in the arena, because they were considered volunteers.
Right.
Forced volunteers. That they ended up going, when he introduced himself to the crowd, he introduced himself as like, just call me Cat. And she was just like, are you serious? You couldn't give me your name, but you're more than willing to give this group of people your name.
Right.
And so she was really pissed. She was very felt slighted by that. So then the arena happened. And so the first group that they went after was a group of Kenku, which are the birds that kind of mock you. And
I can't imagine how that went.
they started mocking them. They're like, what the hell? What's going on? Actually, when Nathan went ahead and fought as Cheery, he had like this conch shell that he found off the Sahugans, and he used it, and then he hid behind Mercy. And Mercy's a halfling.
Who's smaller than him?
Cheery is a tiefling with a tail. So he was like, I'm going to tuck myself up right behind her. So, needless to say, when I was attacking him, he was like, why are they coming after me? And I said, you had the conch shell. You went ahead and made noise with it. They're like, what is this? So they won that. They were kind of pampered a bit and everything. At one point, Kat kind of spots Nala kind of running around down in the dungeons where they're at. And Mercy and Cheery were able to create a diversion that helped him get Nala. And then in the second battle, she actually kind of escaped during the battle out of his pocket. And so he was freaking out even more. He was pissed because, he got drugged, essentially. He lost his cat. He doesn't know where he's at, and he's still trying to find Anubis. And then the second battle was the Onkegs. And I don't think Illisia was there for that.
No, but I think I was there for that, right? Was that when I came and watched you guys play?
It might have been...
I was there for something.
Were you there to watch them, like
me, actually?
Yeah, I know. But do you remember that Catechus was talking to one of the Onkegs and convinced that one to kill the other one?
I think so.
And it turns out they were brothers?
Yes, I was there.
And he was able to convince him to kill his own brother because he was like, oh, yeah, killed your mom. He said he killed your mom, brags about it, and
I think
just
so.
essentially went ahead and convinced this Ankeg to kill his own brother. And then, like, the Ankeg was crying and was like, "Who's supposed to be my best man?" And Catechus was like, "I'll be your best man."
Oh my god, that's funny.
And so then they meet you in the, like, rest area, the
Yes.
relaxation area.
Yep. Oh, that's right. Because I was getting pampered a lot because I had won like so many battles being, and I had been there for like 2 weeks, I think, by then. Yeah. But they hadn't met me or anything.
No, I know. A funny story as to actually how Ashley got to play. Because, yeah, she was like, "Can I come watch? I've never, like, watched D&D. I've never done anything with D&D before." And I brought it out into our group chat, and I said, "Hey, Ashley wants to go ahead and watch. Is that okay with you guys? Otherwise, I can tell her no, she's fine if we say no." And Fahad was actually the one that said she can only join if she plays. And the rest went, yup.
And sure enough.
Yeah, so we quickly kind of made this barbarian for you,
Yeah.
and then
I think though the day that I came and watched, I didn't have a character yet or whatever. I was just helping you roll for like other things going on.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But then it was kind of a nice little fun surprise that you got to join.
Yeah. And I was like, this is a lot of fun. I want to do this. Okay, what do I do?
Yeah, so then you guys went up against, oh gosh, what was it? It's in my notes.
I tore something out here at some point, so my notes only start at Lake House.
Oh no.
And Cherry
Well,
Body was.
Thankfully I got something in here. Yeah, and of course, one thing too is when they were in the arena, it's basically like a big show, production, everything. And the MC, Sia Matthew.
Yes.
Yeah, Sia Matthew. Yeah. Cheery didn't really remember what her name was, and he was like, "Can I call you Nancy?" And she was like, "Can I call you Frank?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, no." She goes, "Well, then you can't call me Nancy." And he goes, "I'm still gonna call you Nancy."
Yeah, but she still called him Frank.
Yeah, she did. Let's see, it was like a Bulgura. Oh, here we go. I can't really, yeah, a Bulgura. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys went up against them.
From Morgan Hall.
You guys beat them, and
Yes.
earlier Cherry had convinced Catechus, I think actually was one to convince Vasha to give you guys extra weapons to win.
Yes.
And you guys got some
Yes.
extra weapons, and then the treasure at the end. As you were leaving, you guys even got plushies of yourself.
Yes, we did. We got plushies of her.
Mercy doesn't have hers anymore. Spoiler alert, she died at one point. Yeah, you guys ended up going to the Whispering Ox because they put you up for the night.
Yep.
Because they were like, "Champions, you guys have a free night." You guys got drunk.
Yep.
And then the next morning, you guys were hungover and talking about Armand and you guys started loudly arguing in the middle of this, like, essentially the inn is set up like a continental breakfast area, but so you guys are like yelling and arguing and talking about like, "Well, we need to go after Armand, and no, let's not do that. That doesn't seem like a right thing." And to the point where someone was like, "We can hear everything you guys are saying." Because Mercy was even like, "I'm going to kill Armand."
Yeah. I think that it was Mercy and Catechus that were really arguing about it, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
She and I were just kind of sitting there going, okay.
Yeah, she held some resent from him spewing his name to Sia Matthew in the audience and not to her.
Yep.
And then I think you even kind of talked about why you were there.
Yeah. So let's see if I remember. I ended up, so I was kind of on this whole journey thing because initially my character had, I guess I can give a little bit of backstory.
Yeah, of course.
So my character Illisia, growing up as a half-elf barbarian, was always bullied, right?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of seen as like the weak one or whatever, but of course like her brother Roland was like, "No, you'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be fine." And so after a while, I think my uncle, right? Uncle,
Yeah, your uncle.
Caldor. I have it all back here. My uncle Caldor
Mm-hmm.
sent me away to get trained, and I trained with a male half-elf barbarian. So he was half. No, was he the? She was the human. My mom.
She was the human. Your mom's human, yes.
He's the elf.
Yeah, half elf.
Half elf.
Yeah.
So but at the time, I didn't know it was my father because my father had left when I was little, when Illisia was little, and I didn't know. So trained with him for a while, and then came back and to Borgin Hollow, and then essentially I decided to leave again because I needed to go like find myself and see if I could get stronger and do all that stuff. So essentially, the backstory I told that we never really got into was that I had been on the way and I had run into, I don't know if I have it in here, I had run into like a wizard, and he had asked me to go to like Pinella Pass to get something, and then we just never, that we kind of left that. And
I think you at one point
you something with a wizard.
At one point you came to me like in the middle of one of our in the middle of the campaign and basically said like, I know I said that I was going after Wizard, but I really don't like that story. Is that okay if we retcon that?
Yeah,
and I was
yeah,
like, that's perfectly fine. If anything, it was probably more so that you were just heading back to Borgin Hollow
Right.
and Pinella Pass was on the way.
Right.
But what was the reason that you ended up going into the arena? Do you remember?
Can I remember? History check?
With Ashley would have a high history check.
I know, I got a lot of notes here, but I don't know if I can remember why I got into the arena. I ended up at the bar, right?
Yeah, you were at the bar. You were at the Shady Ass Tavern, actually.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yes,
okay,
Armand worked at the Shady Ass Tavern.
Yes. So I ended up at this bar, and then when I'm at this bar and Armand's there and stuff like that, somebody was talking shit about my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and so I like beat him up essentially.
Yeah.
And then I ended up in the arena.
Yeah, you had a little bit more of a bit more of like an actual sentence. Because criminals can fight in it too for their freedom, but most often they ended up dying. But just Illisia was just kicking ass. Yeah, I mean people would die constantly in the arena with her, but she ended up surviving all the time, and she ended up becoming a favorite.
Yeah, the crowd really liked me.
Yeah.
Because I was winning all the time. So yeah, by the time
see.
So yeah, so by the time I met Catechus and Cheery and Mercy, essentially, I had been in the arena for 2 weeks.
Yeah. And by the way, with Mary and Mercy, because it's not that there's like a personality disorder, it's not that. Mercy is like her nickname.
Yeah.
Mary is her birth name.
Yes.
It's just that she ended up going with Mercy on that because she really kind of just was nicknamed that. Raised by dragons.
It is still her more evil side though.
Yeah.
But it's not like a Jekyll and Hyde situation.
No, it's not. It's just it's a nickname kind of thing, and that's something that our player for Mercy basically told me.
I'm gonna do a little aside thing really quick. As we're doing this, I keep thinking we should do a podcast.
We would be great as a podcast.
Not too bad, I'm leaving. Oh well. So there's always Zoom podcasts.
That's true. We're so humble. I'm so good at podcasts.
I just thought of it. I was like, we would be really good at a podcast.
Because we're so comfortable with each other too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you guys decided to go ahead after talking about Armand and stuff, loudly saying your displeasure with him and everything, and saying how you want to kill him.
Yeah.
I do remember Mercy charmed the baby to be quiet.
Yes.
She was like, that baby's too loud, and I charmed him. I was like, well, yeah, but it's gonna know you did something.
Yep.
Or I can't remember if it was a girl or a boy. It was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
But then you guys got past a note
Yes.
by one of the people running the inn.
Yes.
and you went to go talk with him, and he was basically telling you to go see Millicent.
Millicent. Yeah.
Millicent is part of the Adamant of the Guild chapter. Adamant of the Guild chapter. Let me double check my actual notes for this. Yeah, the Guild of the Adamant chapter, which was a secret society that began as a way to kind of uncover and reveal the secrets of the council in Pinella Pass. Because Pinella Pass is run by a council. They have a mayor, but he's more like the face of Pinella Pass.
He doesn't do much.
He doesn't do much except like
Except,
fuck.
except sleep with people.
He does, yeah.
Anybody.
Yeah, he is a polyamorous, pansexual individual.
Yeah.
And he's very flirtatious, very open, but also very much willing to be like, not into it, cool. All right, I'll find someone who, is into it.
Right.
And that's okay. Which, we'll get to the dinner later.
Yeah. We're cheering.
Well, you know what? To be fair, he was kind of like leading the mayor on. He was like, oh yeah, what do you want to do? Like, da-da-da-da-da, and then I want to put my hands in his pockets.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, come on, man.
Remember, magic fingers.
Yeah, magic fingers. And what does he pull out? A condom.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, why is there a condom? I'm like, dude, the dude's ready to go. Like, yeah. And then he told Cheery, he goes, well, if you didn't want to, like, be with me, you could have said so, and I would have stopped.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
Like, you were flirting with me, so I thought, like, you were into me.
Right.
That was, oh my gosh, that was shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you guys went to go see Millicent, which,
I don't know. My notes all start at that dinner.
yours starts at the dinner. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Cheery wanted to do business with the town.
Yeah, somehow, how did he get body lice? That's why. You remember we got body lice?
How did he get body lice? Was it from that oil? Remember that?
Yes.
That oil.
That was the oil. Yes.
Yes, he was
that's
so itchy. They broke out.
Yes.
They broke out.
Anyway,
But Cheery wanted to make business with the town.
Yes.
He wanted to bring in like monsters for them and everything and make money off of it.
So didn't you start talking to Vanderwath, right? Just Vanderwath.
Yes, let's do business. I did like playing Vanderwath.
That
It
was fun.
so much fun.
That was fun.
That was when you guys met. And you always
Oh,
good to see.
yes.
He was fun.
And Vanderwath was a member of the council.
He was a member of the council. Yeah, he was a member. You guys ended up going ahead, meeting with Millicent, I believe, and then Vanderwath invited you to dinner later that night.
Right.
A lot of my notes. Arguments happen, and then arguments happen, and then because you guys argued a lot at the beginning.
We did.
A lot,
did.
and in public.
Mostly.
Mercy and Catechus. Yeah, she.
I mean, occasionally I would kind of just get in there a little bit too, and so would Cheery. But mostly Nathan, who is Cheery, and I would just sit there and kind of just watch them.
I mean, it was
Fahad and
popcorn.
Tasha
They were
just
so
go.
good. It was popcorn eating
moments.
moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, at one point I did bring popcorn. I was like, all right, you guys, it's gonna happen.
Well, it got to the point where I was like, are they really mad at each other?
Yeah.
As Fahad and Natasha. Right?
Yeah, it was, but they were
Then you
just.
kind of have to realize, no, this is just a story. This is just a game. They're just playing characters. That took me a while because I was like, every time Natasha as Mercy would kind of like go after me,
Yeah.
I'd be like, wait,
Yeah.
is Natasha going after me?
Yeah.
Or is Mercy going after me? Because Natasha's a really nice person.
Yeah, she is. She's
Yeah.
one of the most courteous, nice person you would ever meet. And she would, in the middle of like arguing with you, she'd be like, by the way, I want you to know that this isn't me saying, this is Mercy saying. We're like, we know.
I know. But it took me a little while, like being a newer player. Well, she was too, but it took me a little
She
while
was
to
very,
realize,
yeah.
okay, whatever I'm saying, I can say because it's just my character.
Yeah, she really enjoyed
I'm
playing.
not attacking my friends.
No, exactly.
Or am I? No, I'm kidding.
And I think you guys established that well with
Yeah.
being able to be like, just so you know, like that's not me. It's
Right.
and
Well, and often too, like if when Natasha and I would like sit next to each other at some games, and we'd be like not yelling, but like getting mad at each other, or saying things to each other. You'd see, you can't see it, but we'd be like, I'd say something, and then she'd say something, and then it would move on to something else. We'd both kind of be like, and kind of tap each other like, okay, we're good.
that's what's really nice
kinda
about
check
our
in,
group
yeah.
too, is that we check in with each other. We let each other know, hey, like this isn't
Personal.
us. This isn't
It's
personal.
not
Yeah, like Antasha really got into her character.
Yeah.
And Fahad gets into his character really well, which helps everybody get into character as well.
I just played me as Illisia. But she's a lot stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys end up going to the guild.
Right. We do go, we go to the guild.
You speak with Millicent,
Millicent.
who's like this old grandma, the sweetest little
And
thing.
she bakes cookies.
She baked cookies. They were so good. And Tasha baked cookies first one day, and we all went, if this was Millicent
Millicent
cookies,
cookies.
these are it. Like,
Yeah.
these are it.
Yeah. Weren't they like ginger snaps or something?
Yeah, they were
She did?
essentially like ginger snaps.
So we just essentially, Melissa always just made ginger snaps or
Yeah.
peanut butter cookies or something like
Chocolate
that.
chip,
Chocolate
yeah.
chip, yeah.
Yeah, I based her off of my grandmother. Not my abuelita, but my grandmother.
Okay.
Because, like, anybody who's ever met her has always said, oh my gosh, she is just like a grandma. Like, the kind of person you would expect to be, like a grandma in a show. Because, hi, sweetie, how are you? Oh, you're doing so well. Oh, come on, and do you guys want cookies?
That's funny.
Yes.
Yes. That's
Yeah, so I based it off of her.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know.
And my grandmother was also someone who, if situation called for her to get like serious and frustrated and pissed, that's Millicent would get that way too. So Millicent was the one who kind of talked to you guys about how people have been kind of disappearing. There's been a lot more volunteers.
Yeah.
There's been people that have been taken in for no reason. And some of the people that have disappeared have never come back. And some of them from the guild as well, just because they're causing trouble for this town.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's see. She told them that the council has been around as long as the town has had pretty much law again. That there's something weird. There's something shady about the shady ass tavern.
There is something shady about the shady ass tavern.
And she let you all know who was part of the council.
Yes.
So
Do you want me to start?
yeah, go for it.
So Sia Matthew, aka Nancy.
Nancy, the MC.
Yeah.
She was actually the head of the council.
Yeah, she was the head of the council. I have it all written down.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Vanilloth happens to be Millicent's son.
Yeah.
And he has no, Kyra is not. Okay, so Millicent has a granddaughter named Kyra, and Vanilloth is her uncle, not her father. Let's see if I can get all these names right. Rare, R-A-E-R.
Rare.
Rare. Oh.
Fear of hell.
Rare. He was also on the council. He was always by the mayor's side. Kind of always in his ear, kind of always there.
Well, there was another
Well,
reason
there was
why.
another reason too. Yeah, they were. Yeah.
He had a real huge crush on the mayor, but he wasn't a big fan
No.
of the mayor.
No.
They never established like a
No, they
relationship,
didn't.
so he had a jealousy.
It says that the mayor was on the council, but I don't think the mayor ever had like a voice.
No.
He was just kind of there.
He was
And
there.
his name is that Bulbrook Moody? Is that right? Is that what I heard?
Balrock. Yeah, Balrock Moody.
Yeah. So he was just kind of there because they had to establish some sort of mayor, right?
Mhm.
So he was just kind of there. Nicole was the head of the guards.
Mhm.
He's kind of an asshole. He was a gnome, right? Gnome.
Yeah.
And then Priestess Christinod.
Christinod, yeah.
She,
She,
of course.
yeah.
Duh.
It's okay.
So she kind of basically ran the Citadel, right?
Yeah.
But she was also on the council?
Yeah, she was basically leading the Citadel for a fake god.
Right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We talked about that.
Luker, I think, was the name that they came up with, and like it was supposed to be like this god of order and justice.
Yeah. And then, while not necessarily, I think, on the council per se, but Armand is a part of this whole thing because he does their bidding. So like, he's the one that gets people into the arena and
Yes.
all that
Yes.
stuff. So, Armand has a daughter named Basha, who ends up being Cherry's love interest. And
Yes.
that's an interesting story.
Yeah, and then I think once you guys kind of find out all of that, you also found out why Vanuath joined. He had
a lover named Iathor.
Eothor.
I can't think of it.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
At least I'm better than Bob.
At one point, I'm afraid Fahad is going to start scatting with the way that he either says his Bardahan's name or Morganpala.
Right, exactly.
As Vita Barty, Vita Boop.
Vanuath's lover was Ithor, and he was killed by a gnome that had 4 slashes across his face, and that's all I know.
Vanuath assumed that it was the guild that did it,
Yeah.
and you guys later found out it wasn't. The guy was actually from the council.
Okay.
So the people he was serving was actually the people he was trying to find.
Okay.
So.
I also have another name here, Faymond. So Faymond was a part of the guild part of the guild for shops and stuff. But then I have an arrow that says not fully confirmed. But we were able to confirm that later, right? Because Faymond the one that ended up like just all of a sudden disappearing and leaving?
Faymond was, I think he was the one
That told us. He was the one I think that passed us the note.
Yes, he was the one that passed you the note. They ended up finding out that he was possibly on the secret society.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up going to Munport Post.
Mm-hmm.
And just to kind of hang out, or to get out of there before getting into the arena,
Right.
Which was one of the things Millicent also did, was she looked out for her people. If somebody felt that they were going to end up in the arena,
Right.
she would always try to find a way to help them out. And if anybody ended up escaping, she always ended up housing them and taking them in and hiding them if need be.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys go to
The dinner.
you go to the dinner.
I
forgot. I put Cheery gets body lice from the stolen oils.
Yeah.
Faymond comes by to your room, to the room you guys were in, to tell Cheery his date with Vasha has been broken and can clearly see why. Body lice. That's right.
How do we meet Vasha? Because I know Kyra.
Vasha was in the arena.
That's right. Okay, Vasha's in the arena because she's part of the guard.
She's
right?
part of the guard.
And then Kyra, who was Millicent's daughter, Manuel's niece, she essentially is a part of the guild, right?
Yes.
But she's the one that drives us in the carriage
Mhm.
to the mayor's house and stuff like that. Kind of gives us.
Yeah.
So she's kind of our inside person.
Yeah, and the other thing too was that Vanuath wanted her to follow into the council, so
Yeah.
he was like, well, I'll just give you a job.
Yeah.
Nepotism.
Yeah.
I just want to give you a job so that way you can go ahead and end up later on in there.
But Vanuath, at first, right, didn't know that Kyra was a part of the guild.
No, he didn't know at first.
He didn't know at first.
Later
Later
he was
on,
trying
he
to
figured
do
it out.
that to help protect her from
Yeah.
going into the guild.
Right.
And he didn't know his own mother was in the guild.
No, I don't. No.
Yeah.
See, nothing.
All right. And the plan that you guys came up with
Cheers.
was that Catechus would try to
Jeeves.
What?
Jeeves, the centaur,
Oh.
balding centaur, who was essentially like the butler.
Yeah, I couldn't come up with a name. I was like,
we called him
Jeeves.
Jeeves, which is like your quintessential
butler name. He did not like you guys either.
No, he didn't. That's funny.
So I guess the plan was that Catechus would be the one to kind of sneak around.
So he turned into a mouse?
He turned into a rat.
A rat.
A
Okay,
rat,
that's
yes.
Right. I remember.
Oh gosh, this is what happened. So yeah, Kyra reveals herself to be in the group, and she's like super excited. The thing about Kyra that was kind of such a big flaw for her.
Right. Well,
And that's exactly how I essentially built her, was that she was very brash, she was young, she was stubborn, she had good intentions, but she just was not willing to listen.
No. And she was very reactive.
Very reactive.
I mean, that's how
Yeah.
it was ultimately her demise in the end.
Yeah.
But I kind of went with her. And Mercy still hasn't let me live that down.
Oh yeah, no kidding. What about Kyra? What about her?
It still comes up after all this time. It still comes up.
Do you remember that time I told you? Really? That was like 10 days ago.
I know. I always forget. Like we've been playing for like what, year and a half or something like that. Or essentially, I have. Wait, you guys a little bit longer, but I keep forgetting like our time in the game is so short compared to like the amount of time we've been playing. So
Yeah.
I keep thinking, oh, it's been like a year and a half since we were in Pinella Pass. But that's not true considering Pasha was pregnant.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, you're fine. So then, yeah, and you guys met Seer that
I met
night.
Seer. Oh,
Seer.
I like Seer.
Yeah, she was such a sweet girl, but she was just such a
A
tragic
little
backstory.
girl, 5 to 6 years old, tiefling.
Tiefling, yeah. Yeah, she had a tragic backstory. She was a naturally born werewolf.
Yeah.
And on her parents, on the way to, I think they were heading to Pinella Pass, there was one night where she just transformed and accidentally killed her parents. I think it was Vanuatu and Siamathi. Siamathi had to kind of help with the situation with Seer, and then Vanuatu took her in and essentially kind of like adopted her.
Right, he became like a father figure to her.
Mhm.
He was very protective of her.
Yeah, he was very protective of her, which.
But she didn't know that she killed her parents.
No,
right?
she didn't.
She didn't know.
She
Like,
didn't
she
know.
didn't understand at all because she was too young.
She thought that some other creature killed her parents.
She was too young.
Yeah. So she had a really tragic backstory. Yeah, and then Catechus, this is where we get the whole nakedness.
Oh yeah, this is fun.
He started it
And
from
the
the
bow tie.
beginning.
Because the bow tie happened because we got all dressed. Our characters got all dressed up to go to this dinner.
Yes. And it was blue bow ties
It was
too.
a blue bow tie.
And so then when he turned back into human, I remember he was like, by the way, I'm completely naked. And I was like, what? What? And he goes, except I have this blue bow tie around my neck. All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
Yep.
It's one of the ways that Fahad always keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
By the way, da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay.
Damn it. Yeah, so essentially he found like paper, he went to the office and found like papers on the desk, payments, numbers, something about payment numbers every 28 days. Catechus has an idea what this could mean. Essentially we figured out, or he figured out first, that there's a full moon every 28 days and there's something that happens that we had to essentially figure out.
And I think I ended up changing later on that would happen every 35 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also figured out too that, or he had found that Siamathi had written a letter to Millicent with guild members' names and threatening Kyra as well. So Siamathi essentially knew that who was kind of in the guild, Millicent being one of them. I don't know if she essentially thought that Kyra was per se, but because Kyra was related to Millicent, and she was essentially
Yeah, and that's I think that's how you guys found out about Feynman being on that list.
yes,
And you guys warned him.
yes.
Yeah, Siamathi, as cartoonish as her voice was, she was fucking ruthless.
She was ruthless.
Yes.
Especially later on when we had to fight her.
Yeah.
We also found out, which we get to later on, is Roth Lodge, and that Roth Lodge had plans, or they had plans to build a renewed Roth Lodge.
Yeah, they had plans for a
That's
few
where
places.
Keith Flats was from.
Yeah, key flats. Yeah. Weavering key flats.
We'll get to him.
We'll get to him. Yeah, they meet him in
We should
Pinella
have
Pass.
Matt as a guest.
Oh my gosh.
Just to explain that.
My husband was who played Wavering Key Flats, so, and he actually asked, he's not a big D&D kind of person, he's a bit more of a Magic the Gathering kind of guy. But
he played that so well.
yeah, he would listen to you guys and he was like, these sound like they're having a lot of fun. Amidst all the arguments,
Right.
you guys were having a lot of fun.
Right.
I think.
Actually, he's the one that coined us the liabilities.
Yeah, he is.
He's the one.
He is the one.
Yeah. Was that Keith Last or that's Matt doing that? I think Matt kind of, right? Or both.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think what helped him to kind of want to join and kind of throw you guys off with this whole Pinella Pass thing was there was one night that you guys were over and it was like in the middle of the week, and he was playing video games on the couch, and Catechus and Mercy were having an argument. It was at breakfast. It was the breakfast time. It was about morality and all this stuff, like killing Armand.
Yep.
And Catechus was like, no, that goes against like morals, like da 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 da. And Mercy was like, what morals? Her scoffing and saying morals made Matt laugh so hard. Yeah, you guys talk with Seer. A lot of talk about business. God, this is where Catechus certainly started to show his like panicky self in situations like this.
Fire.
Yeah, that he caught. He was like, I throw a little firebolt, and I was like, what? Why?
We also found out though, because Steve Matthews started getting like upset. We also found out that Seer is as like young as she was, kind of gave us a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we found out that Seer, told us that nothing good happens when Steve Matthews is upset.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where chaos kind of happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was always kind of scared of Steve Matthew.
And I wrote Cheery and the mayor are flirting.
Yeah, I have it here. They're flirting.
Well,
because I even wrote Cheery winks at him. He winks at him, and I was like, dude. But he is such a huge flirt. He is such a huge flirt. Cheery is. That's one thing. Every time Cheery flirted with a girl, or a gal, I should say, and rolled for like a persuasion check, he always fucking rolled a nat 20.
Yeah, he did?
Always, every time. Nat 20! I was like, oh my god.
But this is also Nathan.
This is also
this
Nathan.
Is kind of his personality.
Yeah, it is kind of his person. It's like
not
his
that he's
diet.
trying to have sex with everybody.
No. Oh goodness.
Put it out there.
Yeah, it's just
he's just very
outgoing, kind of friendly,
fun,
yeah, playful kind of personality. He has a very playful kind of personality.
A lot of fun. When we see him.
Yeah.
That's another story. I put here too that we find out essentially after the dinner and fire and all that stuff, because Catechus, Damon, and Kyra, meet at the Whispering Ox, and Kyra's grandfather was essentially killed by the council on full moon night. And so I think that's part of the reason why Kyra's like with the guild and not with Vanderbilt.
I'm realizing Catechus ended up going out to go talk with Kyra and to get to maybe warn Feynman. Because if I remember, I think he ended up like sneaking in through the basement of the Shady Ass Tavern to get back.
Right.
Because I think he
Catechus did. Yes.
He ran into, I think, Oksana, whose actual name was Mickey, but she was by Oksana.
I heard Mickey from the Shady Ass Tavern works for the guild with Feynman.
Yeah.
Feynman goes to lose.
Yeah. Oksana, she has such a sweet disposition.
She does.
And she had this cherry pie that no one was willing to try. Except for Cheery. Cheery was like, I'll try that cherry pie.
And that's where we found out, Catechus finds out. I'm an English teacher.
Yeah.
Catechus finds out from Feynman. That's when we find out that 250 years ago, Pinella Pass was known for lawlessness, screaming at night, creature of creature. That's what I said. Something about grandparent. I don't know. I can't read my writing. Grandchildren of petty criminals wanted to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
So that's essentially.
Yeah, a lot of the grandparents, the parents, they had PTSD because they were petty criminals. They didn't really get the kind of full punishment that the more serious criminals got, and whatever happened that night was devastating. It seriously traumatized them. And then, so he ends up going through that secret entryway. And
Which is in the Shady Ass Tavern.
Which is in the Shady Ass Tavern.
And is this when he notices pictures of werewolf stuff, including the cat god?
Yeah, the cat god. Yeah. For more, this is a. So he finds Rare's room. Yeah, that's right. He goes searching through things.
Yes.
That's how he finds out that Rare's in love with the mayor.
Yeah. Well, it says detailed nights with mayor in a diary. Yeah.
That's what I have.
Yep.
Diary
Notes
detailing
from
nights with the mayor.
Rare from council, one of the veterans. Yeah. There's a weightlifting room.
Yeah, that's Nicole's room.
Yeah.
Nicole was the head of the guards.
And Nicole liked Basha.
Basha. Yes,
Because there was a picture of Basha with a heart underneath.
Yeah, he hears a voice. Oh, he hears the mayor.
Yeah.
He's like, "Where are you, my new friend?" Because Cheery was like, "I'll see you upstairs," and da da da. And then he was like, "I'm not going upstairs."
Yeah.
And it says here, in a high-pitched voice, he convinces the voice he will be there. I'll be there.
Wait. So eventually there's another fire. Because Matthew, Devanawaz, and Cherry, and Illisia asked us to come with her to talk. But then the next thing I have is, door to the left is on fire.
I think that's when the fire happened.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he left, came back, and then was like panicking.
I need to get these guys
yeah.
out of here. And it says, door to the left is on fire. Matthew squirts water. And door is
Squirts water?
That's what I put. Matthew squirts water and door is almost out. That's what I wrote down. This was a long time ago.
Yeah, this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And this was before we did like 6 to 8 hour sessions.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my
we did long sessions.
Yeah, we did. I remember Fahad wanting even longer ones. We were like, dude.
No, we joke about 24 hours.
Yeah. He's like, no, for real.
And then Catechus then eventually, once that all happens, explains to us about everything. And then Mercy and Catechus argue about killing Armand. That's when that happens.
Yeah, they argue again. Yep. So Illisia takes Kyra back, who's suspicious of Cheery. Let me see. I think because maybe Cheery was kind of flirting with Kyra.
Yeah, Illisia escorts Kyra home.
Yeah.
And then I said, I head back to Whispering Ox. Someone is following me.
Yeah.
I know Nicole was following me.
But she hides and sees Nicole looking around. Nicole turns around and falls flat on his face before moving on.
Oh, that's right, because I think you rolled and I think it must have been a nat one.
It must have been, yeah.
And I just go on my merry way. I wrote a thing on here that says, Catechus is finally woken up. It sounds like a Fahad thing.
Oh, I think because the next day, did you guys go down to the basement?
Well, we head towards the arena. Okay, so we head towards the arena. Door and ladder. Where is a rare? Oh, that's when the Cairo stuff happened. I think, right?
No, this was before that.
Damon is missing. Melissa said he went to another place. Kyra has finally woken up. That's what I wrote down. My notes are weird.
Yeah. I think that was when we were on our break for the Chinese New Year holiday.
Probably.
And we all got together. Yeah, and then Fahad joined later on.
Yeah.
So we were just like, oh, he's probably sleeping.
Catechus is finally woken up.
Yeah. Jerry
Shady
takes
Ass
Armand's good drinks and pours it into 4 separate bottles.
Catechus is now under the Shady Ass Tavern behind us, but now with us. And I put a smiley face. I have no idea.
This is where you guys find out what exactly what is up with the council.
Yeah.
Because you guys run into Rare.
Yeah.
And he turns into a werebear.
Yep.
And so you guys fight. And I remember Fahad was like, Catechus was like, oh, I can do that too, turn into an actual bear.
And then Mary like charms him, Rare, who cannot fight her. Rare is only one on guard. He's not protecting the prisoners.
Yeah.
That's right, because we figure out there's a dungeon underneath there with prisoners.
Yeah.
And and then is that when we find out that Sarah goes down there a lot?
Yeah, she goes down there a lot. She goes down to see the people that are down there and just talk to them and just say hi. She sometimes sneaks food down there. She's really sweet.
Cherry is hiding behind Illisia.
Loves his hiding. Yes, he does.
But Cherry ultimately kills him.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then somehow we find out about Mailer.
Oh.
Yeah, and the next thing I have with Mailer is a creature. God.
I think I have that you guys were searching the warehouse and you guys found a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Because you guys come across a mimic.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was like our first mimic thing. And Nathan was so happy that we had a mimic finally. I checked out the ladder. Room has shelves with containers with a door to the left. Illisia and Mary will investigate the room. Because I think we like split. Two of us went went up and two went like a different way.
Yeah. That's where Catechus ran into Seer.
Yeah. Yep.
Talked with Seer. Yep. Found out she's a werewolf. And he found out that the people that are down in these dungeons end up getting sacrificed. So there's like a separate area where they just kind of, they toy with them and create like this maze that's filled with traps. You guys didn't unlock that maze, thankfully, when you went up against Siamathi. But it essentially causes them to be like mice in this little maze. And they do a terrible wretched thing. Yeah, I grimace, but I'm the one that fucking came up with it.
Right? Well, that's when we meet Hagrid.
Yeah, that's where you met Hagrid, half-orc cleric who follows Remdio.
Yeah.
Remdio is a goddess of healing.
That Mercy was all about till she died. Now I have her stuff.
Yeah.
It says half-orc who was once muscular, Hagrid, been there for a month. He was for the next offering. So he was kind of up next where we kind of rescued him. We find cues. Sarah says, do not keep going, and we head back to get up the ladder with Hagrid to meet up with other two guys. And eventually we take Hagrid to
Millicent, yeah. He had revealed, I think Hagrid, excuse me.
But I know Hagrid, because Hagrid was the last I know Hagrid, I'm the last person he saw before he ended up in that cell. And we had fought in the arena together. So I know Hagrid, he recognizes me, I recognize him.
That's right.
Okay. wait. Oh yeah, so then so Mary and Illisia come up the ladder. Catechus, Cherry, Hagrid, then we fight. That's when I think we fight the mimic. The mimic.
Okay. Yeah.
The order of fighting, 25 to 30 feet away.
I think you guys do take Hagrid to Millicent. I think that's where you find out too that he was raised by his mother and his father was in Pinella Pass. His father was a huge asshole. So he always had Remdio by his side growing up. And he killed his father, that's what caused him to be in the
Right. We also find out that there's a little maid gnome in the cell. The maid gnome. And she was blamed for the incidents at dinner that Catechus caused.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So
essentially she was, and I think that might have been who Seer was reading to.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I think I remember Fahad was like, oh yeah, that sounds awful. I hope they catch who really did it.
And then that's when we find out that the council all changes into their animals and chase the prisoners and stuff.
Yeah. And Vanuatu is the only one that's not a lycanthropy creature. I think.
And then that's when we find out about Seer's backstory too.
Yeah. Nightcall is a were-tiger. Siamathi, I think you guys found out, is a were-dragon. Priestess Christinod. Let's see. Priestess Christinod. She turns into a werewolf.
Okay.
Rare was a werebear. That's it. I think there's one more. 5, Sinapi.
Sinapi,
Vandermont.
Vandermont, Michael.
Yeah.
Armand is not. Armand was just observing.
Yeah, and Vanuatu isn't. He made the choice not to be.
Right.
That was just something that they allowed people
But yeah,
to do.
series where red dragons are most cruel. Fire dragon.
Yeah, that goes along with red dragons. Red dragons
Yeah.
are pretty cool creatures.
Oh yeah. Keep watching Calico start going. Oh, eventually, here soon. Wait, I'm way ahead. Hold on a second. I'm like, way too
That's
far
right.
now. I'm like, wait, I gotta go back.
That's right. When you guys went to go see Millicent, Vanuatu was there. And he was like, what brings you to my mother's house? And you guys were like, the cookies.
The cookies. Yeah, here we go. Melissa's happy to see us. We tell her about Hagrid. Hagrid goes to the basement. Kind of right there.
Yes.
Dining area with casserole, cookies, etc. Mary goes to the basement.
Yeah.
And then we find out that, about Hagrid and Illisia there died and was brought back by. Okay, so Hagrid essentially died in the arena and was brought back by the council to imprison and then give as a sacrifice.
Yes, that's what they would often do, is if there was someone that they felt didn't deserve, like if they were not a volunteer or a petty criminal, they were a violent criminal, or they were someone that was in society, was they would often go ahead, if they died in the arena, they would bring them back to life, and then go ahead or keep them from dying, essentially.
Right.
And put them in the prison in that dungeons, and keep them there until they're sacrificed. So it was,
That's then when we find out about like Amatha was being followed by Iador, the gnome with 4 scratches. Amatha was the one who killed Iador. Iador was part of the guild and didn't like
There's more bickering,
Yeah,
because you guys brought guards.
Yeah, because
Yeah. Yeah, and then Cheery, like later that night, goes on his date with Vasha.
Yeah.
And it turned out fine.
Yeah. Melissa also tells us that we should kill Christinold, the priestess, and Siamatri, or who Melissa suggests we kill.
Yeah.
And then I put, my next thing is, I got the gloves. No idea what that means, but I got the gloves.
That's funny. That's really funny. Let's see.
Why do I have this? If I roll a 1 or a 20 on the dice, then this is what you say.
What?
And I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I did that.
It's kind of fun looking back through the notes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That night you guys go to confront Kristinot. Oh, that was such a great interaction that Natasha and I had.
Yeah, it was.
That's where
Yes.
came from.
Yes,
I remember that. Oh, yes, yeah. I remember.
Yes,
And
because
Tasha
it was
and I.
myself, Catechus, and Mary.
And Tasha and I had such a good, because Kristinot was such a very calm person, very peaceful, and Tasha kept pushing those buttons. But Natasha was calm too, until the point where Kristinot was like, I'm not sure I trust you.
Yeah. Roll for initiative.
Yeah, roll for initiative. Maymar.
We find out that, Lycar, Lycar was the fake god, right?
Yeah.
We find out that there's a rehabilitation center.
Yes.
In quotation, Christinold confirms our suspicions. And then the next thing I put is R.I.P. Christinold. But Christinold has been around for 80 years. She went on a date with Basha. Basha's home. Sure, that was very obvious. They did not have sex that night.
I put the last blow causes Kristinot to explode, and they leave quickly and unnoticed. Because I think someone did something with lightning.
Yeah.
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 You see in there. Let me see what I got in here. Yeah.
And then we meet Wavering key flats.
And that's probably a good spot to end, right?
Yeah.
Wavering key flats. Oh man. Okay, so yeah, that's the beginning part of Pinella Pass.
Kind of a little bit of our back, kind of how we all met and my backstory.
I'll leave
The
Catechus's backstory.
Yeah. I saw it in here and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything. You can do that.
So, because his backstory is pretty
Mm-hmm.
intense too. So yeah, this is just one part of our catch-up session, where we all
Like this, I know where we're at.
got a chance to really argue with one another.
Oh my gosh, we did a lot of arguing in Pinella Pass.
A lot.
And then it
A
slowly just kind
lot.
of dissipated after that.
I mean, it was still arguing every
but
now and
not
then.
like
Not
every
as
day.
bad. It was bad. It was
like
almost
every
like
session.
every time. I swear it was like I was looking at my notes and it was like, and then there's bickering, and then there's arguing, and then there's arguing. Oh, a guard comes up because they're bickering. He
We
thinks
have our
they're a
own
bickering
battle.
couple.
We have our own battle.
Yeah. Well, that comes later on.
I know. Oh yeah, yeah. We do kind of have to fight each other at one point
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
because of Cheery, right? Wasn't that because of Cheery?
Not necessarily was because of Cheery. It was because of he didn't want to do something.
Oh yeah.
And you guys were kind of like, just get it over with.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, that's about it. That's our first part here. Thank you for watching. And we are going to go ahead and end it here tonight. An
What
hour's
are we
probably.
gonna call it? The Liabilities Catch-Up Podcast.
Well, in that case, yeah, we're gonna.
That's what you're gonna title that.
No.
right? It's actually okay.
Excuse me. We'll go ahead and end it here. Yeah, and I'm tired.
Me too.
Oh, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.